something was telling me. And something very different was telling her. That is why we're doing this story.
Like she got it full force.
Because it's mysterious, and how she got it was very different than how I got it, and why did we get it. I think, like I was saying, if you're more open to it, to receiving messages or to that sort of a world, you have that, your mind's eye or whatever it is, open, then you get these things. Alright, I'm just thinking of a good way to start it, but I'll just start it. So the story that I'm about to tell you is a story that's very personal, it's very sad, and I would not normally talk about these personal stories. But the only reason that I am is because there's a strange connection, an odd thing that happened with this event that is mysterious. And because we're always talking about ghosts and things happening in the other world, or spirits or angels, or are they a part of this? You'll understand as I go into the story. I had a daughter back in 1984, and wonderful, first child, everything was great, young, freshly married. And I've always had a little bit of a sixth sense, a little bit of a something where I would know things, weird, random things. And this one thing popped into my head, which was that I had a tumor at the back of my head, at the base of my skull. Just the most random, bizarre thing that anyone could ever think. Why would I think that? Where would that come from? But it wasn't there all the time, that thought. But that thought came into my mind often enough that it was becoming noticeable. And with this feeling, I also had the feeling that someone was going to pass away. So, being a young mother, little girl, I thought about my parents. My dad at that time was older. And so logically, I'm thinking, my dad's probably going to pass away. I knew myself enough to know that like I said, I do pick up on psychic things. And when I know that it's a particular feeling or sense where you know it's true, it's real, like it's just that kind of a sense. So I thought he was going to pass away. And then I started thinking, I don't have the brain tumor he must have. There must be something going on. So I made sure that I brought my young daughter over there a lot to see Grandma and Grandpa, and we did lots of stuff together. I never talked about it to anybody because it was, you know, I had this sixth sense, but I just didn't want to say anything because sometimes you think, well, it's just silly. It's just so bizarre and odd. But it just kept gnawing at me, especially the tumor part and where it was located. So when my daughter was about 17 months old, she was starting to get sick. She wouldn't sleep very well. You could tell something was wrong with her. So we took her to the doctor. And they gave her a few little diagnoses of this, that, or the other thing that we took her home and, you know, gave her and helped her with. And, you know, she was somewhat better, but you could still tell something wasn't quite right. And then one day, I put her down for a nap, and she kept falling off of her bed. So I thought, what the heck? There's something weird. Anyway, so something was wrong with her. I picked her up, called my mom and dad, and because they lived close by, I didn't have a vehicle to drive that time. So they came and grabbed us. We went up to the hospital, and long story short, the weirdest thing is that it wasn't my dad that was going to pass away. As you can probably guess by now, my daughter passed away. And the most bizarre part of that is that she had a brain tumor at the base of her skull, right on her brainstem. It was inoperable. There was not much we could do at that point in time. So yeah, that's a sad and tragic story, unfortunately. And the only reason again, that I'm telling you is that how did I know prior that someone was going to die, but not making the connection it would be her, obviously. Why would a young, healthy little girl pass away? And the brain tumor, like it was, I knew exactly where it was. Someone was trying to tell me, I just didn't make the connection. The strangest part, not only that I know that's already super strange, was that about 15 years later, my mom confessed something to me. And the story that she told me really kind of blew my mind. Her grandma was a very psychic lady as well. She was like the medium in the town. She would heal people, and
she did that. She cured calves. They were sick. She healed them. She did all kinds. She delivered about 100 babies. She was a midwife too. She did lots of things that I don't even know about.
So my grandma, I felt, also had this sixth sense. And the story that my mom revealed to me, and you'll understand why I'm talking about my mom's grandma, my great-grandma in a minute, is that my mom told me 15 years after the passing of my first child that that summer when my daughter was over there and they were babysitting, she was holding her and they were looking out the kitchen window.
I'm standing at the sink in Black Diamond. I'm looking out the kitchen window, and right outside the kitchen window is a rose bush. It's a climbing rose. And we've got a hummingbird feeder hanging up there. And I was standing there holding Jennifer, and I said, look, because the hummingbirds were out there. There was 2 hummingbirds and they were eating. And she was looking at them, and I turned and looked at her. And that is when it hit me. All of a sudden I felt, you don't want to know.
My mom said she turned and looked at my daughter's face, and it was the most horrific. Her face was gone. It was just this horrific, she can't even tell me what it was, but she said, you never want to see that. It's scary. It was very, very frightening. And at the same time, somebody very loudly screamed in her ear, she's going to die, right at that moment. Scared the living daylights out of my mom, obviously. Apparently she had this once before, a long, long time ago. So that was strange. So I had the message given to me in a certain way. I was picking it up, and my mom had also the message to her in a very scary, direct way. And the reason I mentioned my mom's grandma, my great-grandma, is because my mom says she felt that it was her grandma telling her, very stern, very in her ear. And yeah, so how does that happen? Was it my grandma warning my mom? Was somebody else trying to tell me in a different way, in a more gentle way, hoping I'd pick it up and understand? I don't know. It's very bizarre. So then when you think about the afterlife and people, your ancestors, your family, they're out there communicating to us, I think. And yeah, so that's why I'm telling this story today. And my mom never said anything for 15 years, because how could she? I mean, she wasn't going to tell me what she heard or seen that day. She couldn't tell anybody, so she kept the secret for so long. So even after my daughter passed away, of course, she was not going to reveal that horrible, horrible thing that she seen when she looked at my daughter, or what she heard. It took her a long time. And in fact, she's told this story before, like I said, after the 15 years, she's told this story before. And she's been bringing it up recently, a little more often. And so we thought, well, if she's almost wanting to, I think she's feeling like she's getting it off her chest. It's out there, and she's feeling I mean, it's been a long, long time. It's been pushing 40 years since my daughter passed away, a long time ago. And so maybe my mom is getting quite elderly. I think she's just trying to get off her chest and wanting to tell it freely. So one day we were talking out in the front porch, we were talking about spirits and stuff and about her grandma again and the things that she used to do. And my mom just started telling that story again. Yeah, it's interesting. So thank you for listening to my story. Yes, it's a sad personal story, but because of the connection of the spiritual world and the way it was communicated to me and communicated to my mom, it's very mysterious. It's another mystery that we don't truly understand who or how. We have obviously our thoughts on that. But what are your thoughts on that? What do you think? Who do you think might have been telling me or my mom? Have any of you had experiences like this as well? Kind of a bit of a premonition of sorts. Let us know in the comments. Thank you.
Have you ever been to the movie The Blob? That is scary. That is a blood thing that creeps along like that, and it'll grab you and suck you right in, and then it gets bigger and bigger. Sneaks out from underneath cars. I was at that movie, and I had to walk home by myself. Do you know there was a blob hiding everywhere? Usually it took me 10 minutes to walk home. This time it took me 2. I ran. I was sure there was a blob right. Now that's a scary story.